Friends, welcome to Even If You Are Still God. We are so excited to be starting this new series to walk alongside you. And this series was really birthed out of our own desire to ask that question of even if, right? All those things that pull at our heartstrings during everyday life, the health things, the financial things, the friend things, the parenting things, the work things, even if in the midst of all of that, can we still say with confidence, you are still God? So we don't have one particular scripture that we're digging through together over this next series. What we do have is all sorts of different miraculous accounts in the Bible where human hearts are being tugged at, and yet that person still can step back and say, you know what, even if it doesn't go the way that I have planned, even if I can't see the future, even if things are really great right now, I'm still going to praise you. I'm still going to declare that you are my God. So I get the privilege of opening us up for this very first session together. And we're going to go straight into the book of Daniel. And it's not the story that you might be thinking, because when I think of even if, I think of even if I'm in the lion's den, but that's not really what we're talking about today. Instead, we're looking at that story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And in case you haven't heard it before, it's in Daniel chapter 3, and King Nebuchadnezzar has declared this decree that everyone will bow down and worship these golden gods that have been created for him when they hear the flute and the lyre and all these different musical instruments playing. And so when those musical instruments start playing, everyone will fall down, face down, and start worshiping and praising these idols, these small gods that have been made. Well, we pick up in verse 13, and it says, furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now, when you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the lyre, the harp, pipes, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship them that I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing fire. Then what God will rescue you from my hand? And so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are kind of put in this ultimatum situation. What will you do? Are you going to serve the gods that I say that you're going to serve, or are you going to follow the one true God that you have? Who's going to save you? I don't know if you've ever been in that situation before. I have so many times where I've been asked to compromise maybe just a piece of my faith or a piece of my belief. And that really does go back to that faith foundation that we have. Even if you throw me into the furnace, even if I don't get that promotion, even if all these different scenarios, will I still follow my one true God? This session, we're looking at even if I will not give up hope. Have you ever had that situation where you are just, you're clinging to hope? You're clinging to the promises of God and you're saying, God, please, please do this thing, do this thing. And it's that hope that carries you through. But then you're given this other opportunity to maybe take the easy way out. I mean, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are brought before the king. And he says, okay, listen, if you don't do the things that I'm telling you to do, then you're going to be put to death. And the easy way out would be definitely to just do what he says, to bow down. Even in their heart of hearts, they didn't believe it. Who cares? Just do what the man says, right? Compromise just a little piece of your faith so that you can get what you want. But let me tell you that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego don't do that. They hold firm to that hope that they have in God and say, you know what? We're not going to do what you've asked of us. We're going to hold true to what we know to be true. And so what happens is the men come and they take away Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It says that they turn up the furnace to the hottest degrees possible. They throw the men in. And here would be a great time to start doubting your hope in God. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego don't do that. They're inside this furnace, and And all the men that brought them to the furnace had died because it's so hot. They had died themselves. But these 3 men, and their faithfulness and their obedience to God, are dancing around and marching around inside the furnace. And it says in the Bible that there was a 4th person that maybe was the Son of God in there with them, protecting them, providing for them. But what's so incredible is that as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego as King Nebuchadnezzar goes and looks at them inside of that furnace, he can't help but start to praise their God. He starts to see a hope that he never knew before. Obedience is so important as we cling to hope, that as we hope for the future, as we hope for God to do different things in our lives, that we can't compromise any bit of our faith, that we have to hold true, so that when we can say, even if you throw me into the furnace, even if, you are still God, because I have been obedient to the things that you have called me to. So this is my challenge for all of us as we go throughout this season together. As you look at those hard moments, those hard situations, if nothing else, act in obedience, and your hope does not need to waver.